What's up, everybody? Welcome to Randomly Selected. I'm your host, Mario Smith. This is the Silver Room's podcast. You want more information about The Silver Room, go to thesilverroom.com. Today is a very special day. It is what I have been asking our silent producer for weeks, and it finally happened. It's a chance for us, you and I, and all of you, to sit with Duane Powell. Duane Powell is one of the premier DJs in the United States, tastemaker, music man. Also hosts a show here on the Silver Room family network of stuff called Soundrotation, and we hope you're checking that out as well. Talked about his influence on people like me, as he was one of the buyers at Dr. Wax, a famous record store here in Chicago that closed down a few years back, and just Duane being dope. Ladies and gentlemen, Randomly Selected is proud to present on this special crossover edition, Duane Powell. Enjoy. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. The weather is perfect.
Ain't it great? Ain't it great? Don't all the people who hate you because you hate hot weather, tell them today. Today's the day.
Today's the day. And see, people have this misconception. They think I like cold weather. I just don't like it hot.
Exactly.
You know, if I had to have extremes, I'm going to go with cold.
Yes.
But I like a great 75 degrees, sunny. That's just gorgeous.
You know why? One of the reasons I like the cold, because it tamps down a lot of the energy of violence in this city.
Well, for me, it's about sleep.
And sleep. Opening up a window at night and being able to sleep is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Prince used to say the reason why he never left Minnesota to live anywhere else is because it keeps the bad people away.
Oh.
And I've kind of always felt that. And even before he passed away and all that stuff, I was like, that is a smart way of thinking, because I never lived in Minnesota.
Right.
No offense to anyone from Minnesota that's listening. Please tell your friends.
Well, I mean,
to
he's
subscribe.
also from, when you're from a city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I won't leave Chicago.
Yeah.
As much as I think I should, I can't.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was posed the question this week, where would I live if I, and I just can't figure it out because I'm a Chicagoan.
I'm too old to try to reroute. I'm rooted here. This is it, man. Speaking of being rooted here, I told a couple of folks that we were going to do this, and Dr. Wax came up in every conversation. So let's get the Dr. Wax thing out the way. Not that it's a bad thing to talk about ever. I think it's fair to say, particularly for Hyde Park, Dr. Wax was it in terms of record stores. There was such an amazing amount of, and I've heard people call it Southside Gramophone.
No,
which I disagree with.
Analogy.
I think that's a terrible link. I think Dr. Wax stood on its own for just being a very unique place in a really unique neighborhood. We getting every sound today that you all have come to love over the past year on both of our programs, Sound Rotation and Randomly Selected. This is the ambulance part. In a little while, we'll have the UFC bus. Someone will be singing. There'll be some drums.
You let that okay.
Yeah, we're gonna let it roll out. This is why this show is the greatest. And there we go. That's perfect. Oh, we need to be on television today. It's absolutely perfect. Dr. Wax served as, you know what, we got to start.
We got it running over.
Or you can just cut this part out. You leave some of that in. Oh, that's I told you. I know what I'm talking about. Dr. Wax, which is not located too far from this ambulance chasing scene that we're watching here on the corner of 53rd at Harper, was an important place for a lot of different people. You used to do something to me, and I don't know if you did it to everybody, but I know you used to do it to me every time I came in. I'd be like, Duane, let me get such and such, and you just look at me and be like, you don't want that. This is what you get. And you would hand me an album, and it was like Omar the first time. And I was like, Omar? He's like, just trust me. And I bought it, and I've had Omar on the terrestrial radio show. I'm a big fan, and I would have never known about him had I not walked into Dr. Wax. Your Dr. Wax experience, can you sum up what that was like for you?
It's interesting how I'm just so synonymous with Dr. Wax and how Dr. Wax was so much longer than me. And it was already this legacy before I started working there.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that people associate me with Dr. Wax. And I'm like, Dr. Wax was really a thing.
For a long time, yeah.
I didn't start working there until 98.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't it seem like you were there much longer than that?
I don't know. If for some reason everybody thinks that I've been there for like when the bricks first came up, but but no, I just started working there until 98. I was a customer, a loyal customer. People used to see me in there shopping.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't get the job until actually the day after Thanksgiving of 1998.
Wow.
I was at that point. Cause I had spent a year like transitioning from place to place, homeless. I actually stayed with Eric Williams on his couch for a minute. He rescued me out of sleeping in the park. And I moved out of the transient hotel I was in, moved in with my best friend DJ Rush at the time, and started Dr. Wax the next day.
Shout out to CVS, DJ Rush. Go on, I'm sorry. I had to shout out the Cavaliers every chance I get.
And, and it was because of Charles Williams that I got the job.
Wow.
Which is crazy because I could not stand Charles. Before I worked at Dr. Wax, I worked at Cargo Distribution, and Charles got me that job. And it was there that I realized it wasn't personal with Charles, because Charles was known as the ultimate like snob. And to me, Charles was one of the bigger parts of the legacies of Dr. Wax. He was there and really in so much of his heyday, when hip hop culture was really becoming this thing in the early 90s and through all that, and until the acid jazz movement, and between Charles and Harry, they really, really cultivated that stuff. But he was known as like, kind of like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. He was that dude.
he would also give you a look if you walked into Dr. Wax, kind of like, why are you in here?
And his biggest thing was, that's garbage.
Yeah. I can hear him say.
That's all you hear is,
I can say
the face, the thumb down, it's garbage.
Absolutely.
One
of the nicest dudes in the world.
One of the nicest dudes in the world.
One of the nicest dudes in the world.
And it was, so I started working at Cargo Distribution. I actually took his place. He wanted to leave and just go back to full-time at Dr. Wax, and I ended up getting his position. And then recognizing that Charles was just really this music-loving introvert who just kind of speak when spoken to. And then Cargo went out of business, and I was out of work again, and a position became available at Dr. Wax, and Charles, again, brought me in, recommended me, and I spent 12 years there. I think a lot of people, because Charles was the kind of introvert that he was, my brother's still living.
Yeah, he's
great.
Here.
I just saw him a month ago. He's fantastic.
He's still here.
I think because he was the kind of introvert that he wasn't necessarily a people person. With me, I'm the hugger. I'm the people person. Hey, whatever. And so I think people say that I kind of brought that to it, if you will. And then at the time too, this underground soul scene was really bubbling that a lot of people wasn't aware of. And I had started traveling, trying to find all these interesting artists. Because before everything, we was always looking to the acid jazz movement of Omar and all this stuff from overseas.
Right.
But there was this real bubbling underground scene in America that was happening, in Atlanta and Philly and certain pockets of America. And I would start traveling to these cities and checking out these venues or these indie artists and bringing these indie artists' music back to Chicago. And that would be like, Ndombi and Yazara and
Joy Jones.
Yes.
Turn me on to Joy Jones.
And Julie Dexter.
Yes.
And all this stuff. And, Jill, before Jill Scott was a thing.
When the T-shirt was the thing, it was Jill Scott.
Lettucey, when she was a local artist. We were the first store that carried many of these artists, and a lot of artists, we were the only store that was carrying them.
Yeah.
And so that became a thing, because we were carrying these artists that no one else was carrying. In addition to it, because we carried everything. We had a rock section, we had a blues section, we had classical, we carried everything. But there was a strong emphasis on the things that we actually liked, as employees of the store.
Yeah.
And so, just really, I'm just a kind of person. I love music, so I'm always gonna push what I love. When I on the house scene, I was known for, I wasn't even DJing, but I was known for always collecting records. And a lot of DJs, I kind of basically, before it was called a thing, I was consulting them, on music that was out, music that was good, because that's what I like to do. So it just transferred well into a store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with you a couple of years ago about how you started DJing and how you were influenced by people in your family. I see how people react to you when you DJ. It's weird, bro. I don't see people react. I haven't seen that kind of reaction in a long time where people follow you. I mean, and I know people follow DJs and they'll go to parties. We used to do that with Timbuktu, for example, when Timmy was a young dude. If he was spinning somewhere and he was like 15, 16 years old, we'd go because we knew he could spin. You get down. You have burnt up many a room that I've been in. Many a room. I mean, I ain't saying it because you hear it's the truth. And I look at how people look at you while you're working. And then I look at you read the room to see what's working and what's not working.
You have to. And I mean, I've been in situations where reading the room didn't help much because it was just a crowd that I was, no matter how I read the room, I don't have the things that are satisfying them. Like I just had a gig recently out of town that, it just wasn't the audience. It has to be the right fit. I definitely have turned down gigs based on me knowing it's not going to be who the audience is that I could perform well in front of. Yeah. And it's not a judgment call in terms of judging the kind of music these people want to hear because everybody has what they like, but every genre of music, there's kind of a culture behind it. And there's people who live these cultures and who do it successfully. So why would I take a gig where I have to play all like trap or all Afro beats, which is the newer, which is kind of like African reggaeton to me. Why would I take those gigs and half-ass do it when someone like DJ Bonsu can do it successfully? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I would actually turn down the gig and say, hey, yo, let me give you Bonsu's number because I think he will be the one to really do that. And so I think a lot of DJs need to kind of humble themselves in that way to recognize that everything has to be a fit. Yeah, it's okay to not take the gig if he's not a fit for it, and it's okay to recommend another DJ for that gig if you know what I'm saying, that come better, because ultimately an event is it's so many things that make it successful. You know what I'm saying, and that's a part of it, knowing what crowd you're going to fit with instead of you walking around talking about how you played this set, but they weren't up or they weren't ready or they weren't hip or they wasn't. It's like, what's the point?
Duane E Powell. I have no idea what the E is for. E, as far as we know, is his middle name. Duane talks to us in this segment about how his career as a music buyer flowed into becoming an in-demand DJ. Although most of you only know him as a DJ, a lot of us know him as record buyer Duane. But this segment is very important because it explains the transition from buying records to playing records. Let's listen.
Well, you have to remember, for me, I've been on the scene for decades, but I've been in the DJ pool only about 10 years. So it's different for me in the sense that my DJ career just kind of whatever took off locally in the recent years. And then there's people who felt like I jumped the line.
How so though?
Because again, I've been on the scene since the 80s, but I've been spinning very recently. Right. And there's people who've been definitely, who've had equipment and DJing in one form or another, be it their basement, be it wherever, for 30, 40 years, who don't feel like they've still gotten the looks that they deserve for being in the game for so long. But
because I believe people know you as being the dancing dude at parties.
Yeah, I was the dancer.
Yes, you were.
That was about 200,000 cheeseburgers. 560,000 gyros ago.
Don't let him talk that to y'all. Listen, I know for a fact, and me and you have had this conversation too. Like, if it's a party and somebody will take a picture of you dancing, and then you're like, the next day, you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that shit. That was too much. But Duane can go. Duane is a hell of a dancer. It did
get to the point with DJing. A couple people was in my ear about me getting on the tables and really doing it, and that was Anthony Nicholson. He was really the first. So him and Ron Trenton used to have a club. You remember the old club, the Igloos? That was up on Sheridan? Yeah. So in the later 90s, Ron ended up moving in there, and they ended up turning it into a club, USG, which was the name of their production duo, Urban Sound Gallery. Yes. And they had two rooms, and there was one room that they wanted to have lounge and stuff playing, and then their room to be the dance room. And they ended up hiring me as resident. That was my first time having a residency, anything. That was in 97. And then me and Anthony just kind of started building from there. In fact, my name, Soundrotation, came from an event that me and Anthony Nicholson and Joe Brill had at the Buddha Lounge.
At Buddha,
it was called Soundrotation, and I was the host. And we were bringing in all these different acts from all over the globe. And then from Buddha Lounge, went from that to Sonotech. And Anthony was always constantly like, yo, I need you, you have this record collection that you've been had for decades, and you have this music knowledge, you need to be on the tables, kind of sharing it kind of thing. But I was so knowing how, again, those people who feel like I jumped in line, those kind of people who's just kind of bitter, I kind of didn't want to be involved with all of the bickering that goes on in that world. Yeah. And so that was the thing that kind of kept me away from it for so long.
I was going to ask you about that too, not to cut you off, brother, but I was going to ask, is that still a thing? Are DJs still doing the whole...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Really? What is the
I'm
point,
so glad
though?
that you've curated your Facebook page well enough to where you don't see all this.
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, my God.
I worked hard on that. I stay away from all that.
It is definitely very much still a thing because Chicago bred, we've been a DJ town for decades, right?
Fact.
We had actually, when the industry left here, we wasn't much of a live music town. We were much more of a DJ town. And we have more DJs than we have trees. But we don't have venues to support the amount of DJs that we have. And we have given birth to arguably the best DJs in the world, to me.
Agreed.
But again, we don't have the venues to support the amount of DJs that we have. And so then it becomes this game of how do you work within the system here in Chicago with us not having viable clubs for Black American DJs and Black music. You know what I'm saying? How do you fit within these pockets? You know what I'm saying? We've had to turn unconventional places into clubs. We've had to turn, I did Reggie's, a rooftop at a rock club, and turned that into a party on a Wednesday. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's not a space that's really conducive for what our culture does. We've turned all these restaurants and all these little corner dives into something because there's not any venues that support really what we do on that level. Thanks in part a lot to the politics of the city.
Even the box or playground back in the day.
Yeah.
Those are the places no human being should be in.
Yeah, but those were all juice bars at the time. And with the juice bar ordinance and the rave laws and all that changed the game. And then Mayor Daley, when he came in office, and right at that simultaneously, the Bulls dynasty started. Oprah is now a staple, and they brought in so much tourism that rave laws changed the game, and tourism came in, and gentrification followed, and and just kind of crushed the thing. And then all these people are still kind of sitting around, waiting their turn in the spotlight, if you will.
Right.
And I had to realize that, first of all, I never set out to DJ, right?
Right.
But it got to a point that I wanted to hear music that I wasn't hearing nowhere. And so another person that I wanted to mention is Howard Bailey.
Absolutely.
Whom had a Monday night event at a place called the Dark Room in Ukrainian Village on Chicago Avenue.
I'm only laughing because every one of these places I've been in.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He was curating this Monday night, and he was like, I want you to be one of the DJs. And I was like, one of the DJs? He's like, I'm not really doing that, right? Yeah. And he was just like, at that point, this is when Dr. Wax had just closed. Yeah, because it's 2010. Dr. Wax closed in February 2010. And I had all this free time on my hands, so I'm on Facebook. Facebook is the hot new item right at the moment. Yeah, YouTube is hot for me. Right. I'm now doing all this video DJing where I'm posting all this great music from YouTube to Facebook, and I'm gaining all this new energy. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mind you, because at that time I'm in a deep depression because of the fall of Dr. Wax.
Yeah.
And because again, my name, for the longest I wasn't even Duane Powell. I was Duane from Dr. Wax.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
For a very long time.
And how I would even introduce myself to some people was Duane from Dr. Wax. Mm-hmm. I would be going to these conferences all over the world. I mean, all over the America, and introducing myself as Duane from Dr. Wax. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Wax is now gone. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
What are you gonna do? So I was in, and I didn't even realize how deep of a depression I was in. I gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I had a full Tom Hanks Castaway beard.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Wow.
But I didn't even know. It just appeared. I just was sitting in a rut. Didn't even realize it.
Is that how you ran into We Love Soul? Into that
Well,
collective?
We Love Soul actually started when Dr. Wax was still open. We Love Soul started in the midst of Swank Society.
Right. Yes.
But when did it? Well, not really, because the first We Love Soul event I want to say we did was at the Dark Room. Yeah. Yeah, it was at the Dark Room.
Was it you, Joe, questioning
Me, Joe, questioned it, and Sean. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But me and Sean met via Swank Society.
Right.
Question was and Joe were regular customers in Dr. Wax, but then Question also had a show on Swank Society.
Right.
But so Howie was like, this stuff that you be posting on Facebook, I want you to come play that live. Right? I'm like, okay. And so he had me, J2, Tone Be Nimble as the DJs.
I remember that. Oh, that was a good night. I remember that.
And sometimes, some Mondays, Tone Be Nimble couldn't make it, so it'd be just me and J2. And it would just end up being this Monday night hang. It wasn't a big deal. It was a game night where they played cards, and Tina and Vicky and everybody used to come, and they used to just have these card competitions, and I'm just playing music. So it was easy because I didn't really have a crowd that I was trying to please, because it was really just this vibe and things going on. It wasn't really necessarily a party, if you will. Yeah. But then we started kind of adding some live shows, things to it. And then again, you mentioned it, We Love Soul was really starting to do events at that time. And that started forcing me to actually DJ.
Duane Powell is our guest on Randomly Selected, and today we're talking to one of the most amazing DJs that I know. And we talk about how his DJing is more performance than it is just regular DJing, which is a real unique thing to be able to pull off. Very few DJs can do that. We also asked him his thoughts on the current scene and how he continues to separate himself to be unique.
I just come from a place where I remember, DJs that inspired me, like Lil Louis, like like Ron Hardy, like several others. DJ Rush is my best friend, and we actually discovered a lot together. I just come from those eras when the DJ had room to move, where it wasn't a stacked bill of 5 to 10 DJs on one bill every. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I attended parties where these were these people's residencies. Russ and Ron Trent were the residents at the Reactor. You know what I mean? Ron Hardy was the resident at the Music Box. Mm-hmm. Frankie was the resident at Power Plant. And even though they would have an opener, like, Mike Winston and Craig Loftus were openers, they played at the Power Plant. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I came from an era where DJs, it was common for them to spend a 4-hour set.
With no problem.
And it wasn't even an announcement like, oh, so and so is going to do a 4-hour set. It's like, that's the standard.
That's the day party thing, Duane. Remember when they used to do day parties? You didn't know a week ahead of time. Somebody would call you on the phone and be like, yo, they're doing a day party at Mad Bar. Diz is spinning. And you're like, let me get to Wicker Park and go to Mad. And then they never said it's going to be a marathon. He's spending 4 hours. He just did it.
This culture now that I've found myself in on the house scene, where the music is 122 or something the whole time, actually irritates me.
I bet it does.
Because, and that's the one reason why I like Reggie's so much when I do Reggie's on Wednesdays, because it allows me room. I play for 6 hours. So it allows me to start off my set at 88 something beats a minute, and then just work a slow build, 80 something beats a minute. Halfway through the night, I'm only reached up to 112. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then work my way up to 125, and this, because you got to have these peaks and valleys in this climax. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like when you have to just jump on and just be, this thing for a whole, for just the whole time. And because again, I mean, look how many songs like back in the day when we used to party, like It Ain't No Big Thing, or Let's Get Together, or Natty Co's Annie Mae. Those songs are only like 100 beats a minute.
Yeah,
100 between. You had songs that was only between like 100 to 105, 108. Like we forgot about that groove. That was a groove that that helped you build into something
and got the job done.
Oh man,
trust and believe.
Effectively,
very effectively got the job done.
And so that's the kind of thing I miss. And so I like to be able to do events where I'm curating in that manner.
Yeah.
I don't always get to do that. I'm definitely get booked to do gigs, or I'm just doing an hour set, 2 hour set, or whatever. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's just in terms of, I just come from these DJs who were music lovers, because all DJs are not music lovers.
Say word.
And that was the thing that also that had me stand back from DJing for a long time, is because I didn't want DJ to become work and it affect my love for music. Because it does. Because when it gets to the point when you DJing and when you get so caught up into a pocket of DJing, you start only listening to music that you can spin.
That's the same thing with poetry,
and
man.
not music you can listen to.
Yeah, that became me in poetry. I couldn't write anymore. I stopped being able to hear what would inspire me, because everything started sounding the damn same, and everybody started sounding like everybody else. And I'm like, I can't find my voice anymore. And doing these events, these poetry things. And then I would find that my writing suffered because nothing was inspiring me. Not that I didn't have a muse, because I definitely did, several of them. But in those voices, and I imagine it's the same thing, spinning music, in those voices, everybody started trying to sound like everybody else.
And then in DJing in this world, especially in the house music game, majority of the DJs get their music from TrackSource.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
is the online gramophone.
That's
basically.
Right. That's right.
That's where most DJs go to get, and TrackSource have everything compartmentalized, broken down into different varieties of dance music. And it's not just like, so it's house, it's classic house, there's tech house, there's soulful house, there's Afro house. All these kind of divisions, and then there's new disco, and so on and so forth. And so many DJs just go into one genre. They go into that soulful house era and see what's in the top 100, and whatever, and then that's where they stay. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason even still too, where people trip out on, because Chicago unfortunately still kind of exists in these segregated insular bubbles.
Yeah.
Where a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, a lot of cats on the house parties only goes pretty much to the house events for the most part. Poetry scene, this more than anybody. They don't go. If it ain't with Mike, they ain't going.
They're not gonna go.
They're not going. You know what I'm saying? I have been lucky to be able to exist in all of those worlds. So, with the musicians on the jazz scene, and then with the DJs on the house scene, and with the spoken word. You know what I'm saying? So I need all of that still. Yeah. So that's why I'm constantly like right now I need to travel some more. I'm missing my travel. I'm missing some good shows. I will always travel to other cities to see certain concerts that weren't coming through here.
Your buddy's doing the whole like what, a 2-month residency at the Blue Nut?
Yeah, that's every year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's making me mad because I want to go.
Yeah, I went the last. He didn't get to. Of course, he didn't get to do it through the pandemic. So the one in 2019, I was there.
I have the album at the crib.
Yeah, I was there opening night. I want to say I was there.
Talking about Robert Glasper, by the way.
And
shout out to Rob. What up,
there's
Robert?
so many of those shows that have been coming through Chicago that I'm like, I need to get to. But I needed that to keep me focused, and that's the great thing. There's the reason why I thank Eric in the Silver Room right now, because me doing Soundrotation Radio has brought me back to music I've been neglecting because I've been DJing.
So now, if you know anything about Duane, you know that he creates this amazing list of the best songs from whatever year it is around January, mid-January, although people start asking him about it, like in this interview. And I can't figure out why Duane is laughing right now. Let's find out. What's so funny? So
I knew it was coming.
Of course, I'm not going to ask about the year-end list in September, trying to get it now. That list has people on 10. We are on you like December 29th. Like,
God.
okay,
And
so the
then
list comes out on the 1st, right?
I will admit that there was a time that I had gotten, I was, because for one of the things that kept me going musically after Dr. Wax and when DJing wasn't still a thing for me yet was I was blogging.
Yes.
And
Soundrotation was a blog.
A couple of things. I hate writing. I have an ultimate fear of writing. To the point that I avoided English at all costs in school. I found a loophole in my senior year that got me out of senior year English, and I jumped right in.
I wish I could have found that loophole.
Because I knew come senior year I was going to have to write like a term paper, and I hate writing. I have a fear of writing.
Yeah.
I have a fear of writing, and so when I went to Columbia College, I had to start off in like developmental English because, again, I hated writing. I hate writing.
Yeah.
Especially when they tell you it's like we need you to do a 500 word or 500 something. It's like, how you know I got 500 words? How come I just can't just say?
Can I just say what I gotta say?
Is dope? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that whole thing is just. And so a good friend of mine, April Graham, aka Erasure Magnetic. Yes. She was the A&R. She was the editor in chief of KevinNottingham.com, hip hop blog, and she wrote for various Hip Hop DX, all these other places, but she was the editor in chief, and she brought me in. They wanted to do what they call Soulful Sundays, where they did post about music that wasn't hip hop, and so I was blogging, and so now I'm having to research all this new music, and then at the time too, it's when Bandcamp came on the scene.
Save the world.
So I'm finding all these new artists on Bandcamp, and I'm able to do all this stuff. But then the writing, again, because I hate writing, and I think my writing sounds idiotic most of the time.
It does not.
Oh my God. I be trying to find words, and I'm just like, oh God, this is so corny. Because all I want to say is it's dope. Go get it.
And that work, is that why you formatted the end of the year list like you do with just the albums and stuff?
Yeah, because it was like, but then I'm piling all this music that I'm getting over the year, and so it started there. But people don't understand how tedious it is.
Yeah.
It's a very tedious thing, and I don't miss like writing for music blogs at all. Especially when you had these deadlines. I mean, I'm literally, the sun is coming up. I've been up all night long. For some reason, I'm like most creators. I don't know if you guys are like this, where nothing creatively comes to you in the daytime.
Not a damn thing.
It's the wee hours of the damn morning when you should be getting ready to go to bed that some light bulb hit, and then next you know, it's 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And now, and so I'm literally up all night trying to write.
Only thing creative comes to me in the daytime is the dinner menu for me. Like, and that's when I first wake up. Like, what am I going to eat tonight? I've only been up an hour. What am I going to eat tonight?
And so I don't miss I used to be up all night, all morning, trying to get my articles in before that Friday deadline and everything else. And it just became work. And then I just started recognizing where a lot of other music blogs were, like Bama Love Soul, who's not around anymore, who was one of my favorite blogs.
That was a great blog.
What was the blog out of the Netherlands? Movement. All those blogs, they just got tired because it was a thankless job. We wasn't getting we were getting hits. We weren't getting the financial backing. We wasn't getting and then we wasn't even getting like the love from the artists, really. Like, I would write articles about artists that I know when no one else has written about them, and it wasn't even. I couldn't even get them to just reshare the article.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. They would only reshare if it was OK Player, or Soul Bounce.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'll just take my little article and go. You know what I mean? It just became that thing. It was just like, forget this. I don't know, but people definitely started demanding that list.
Oh, the list is. Are you kidding me? You know how important that shit is? It's like, what did Duane think about the year 2021?
Shout out to my boy Fifth Element, because Fifth Element, but
he be on you.
Oh my God,
he is the one.
And then he killed
really
it because Fifth Element had like deactivated his Facebook page for a while.
Yeah,
he was like, I literally reactivated my page to come to your page to find this list. Where is it?
I know that for a fact. I know that to be a fact. I think, again, for me, man, I want to know what. It's not even just that I want to know what Duane thinks. I want to know what's out there because I don't know. There's no Dr. Wax for me
and
to
then
go
it became
to.
this thing too, where people don't realize the list is subjective.
Super subjective.
That the list that I make is literally the list that I make based on the music that I'm listening to and playing and like.
There's so much out there.
There's things that definitely doesn't There's things I definitely could have missed because everything doesn't come by me. Mm-hmm. There's definitely things I just didn't check out. So it's like, you start getting this, well, I don't see so-and-so. This list is bogus if it ain't so-and-so, but then you create your own list.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the list of the music that's in my library of what I'm listening to, what I liked all year. Yeah. I say this every time I post it. Like, this is the list of music I felt, and instead of me doing a top 10, because I think top 10 and top 20 is great, but it still leaves out so many things that happened in a year. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't see the Migos in any of your lists, sir.
No, you didn't.
Shout out to the Migos.
And again, that's what I'm saying. This is Duane Powell's list. That's why it's on DuanePowell.com.
But I think that's perfect though, because that is a good indicator for anybody that may have missed something, especially in this indie world that we live in. Musically, there's a lot of great music that does not get. It
just be pissing me off though, because I be feeling like I know they don't say this to Josh Peterson.
No, they probably should.
This,
but they probably should though.
No, what I mean is, I know Josh Peterson don't get the whole whatabouts. Oh, you forgot.
Oh no, probably not.
You just respect Josh Peterson list and leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been at gigs DJing where it seems like as soon as I get on, all the requests come. Like, you didn't do it to no other DJ. You know what I mean? Or
is that more because they think you've got it? Or
I don't know. Or if I'm more approachable, I don't know. But all of a sudden, I'm on, all of a sudden, everybody got a request. Literally at the Silver Room Block Party this past week, I'm playing, and this woman, she had just got there. She had just got there, hadn't figured out the lay of the land, nothing. She had literally just walked up, and she walked up to me and was like, you got...
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I was like, can you get in and figure out what's going on first?
Read the room.
Or you get those moments where you you come in playing somewhere that before you, it was kind of like a music system or something playing. They were perfectly fine with whatever there was they couldn't control.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
They can't, no problem. The moment I step up, it's like, getting their phone out. Can you? It's like,
wow.
Could you do that before I got here? No.
I can't imagine being a DJ in a club and having somebody walk up on me.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yes, sir. Of course.
So
that boggles my mind.
Because this has been a conversation lately. The DJ world has definitely changed, and that's another reason why these people who are disgruntled about it don't get the lay of the land. Things have changed. Mm-hmm. The DJ is the sound man, the engineer. He's the promoter. He is he's the entertainment director. He's the information center. He's the can I plug my phone? He's the can you play this? My sister's birthday.
Can you hold my bag?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Damn. I'm sorry.
They just do not have the role of DJing anymore.
Wow.
And we have to do a lot of work in terms of, I started throwing my own events. Like Reggie's was my event. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm responsible for getting my graphics done and get, getting the word out. And I had to accept that, because I had to recognize the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where we didn't think about that before. We just wanted to play and have fun. A lot of times they just want to play for their boys who are also DJs and kind of be in this kind of DJ fraternity thing. But realistically, you want to play for an audience and you want to play. And then unfortunately, the bigger you try to go into these spaces that you can get in, be it hotel, residency, whatever, you have to start conducting yourselves on a business level. So your headshot game, mm-hmm. Having some high res photos, mm-hmm. like not even knowing how important that is. I can't tell you how many times I've been a part of somewhere a DJ, you couldn't get a good flyer done because the DJ has no high res photos.
Yeah.
Everything is just some photo that somebody shot from some cell phone somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And you just can't get the good look of a really dope flyer because they're not thinking about this in terms of branding. You have to, at this point in the game, again, when you said, looking at me as like a music, you have to look at yourself as a brand and not just a DJ, because brands, I mean, as it stands, my imaging is what sold me to some place. I got on the cover of the Reader not because of the DJ, but because of my imaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which it still didn't make sense because I shouldn't have been on the cover because it was the
Here we go.
It was the 40th anniversary of the Jazz Fest, and it was Ramsey Lewis' farewell performance. He really should have been on the cover of the Reader.
Yeah, no doubt.
I actually think someone missed their deadline. Is how that happened. Somebody missed their article deadline.
Because I know you weren't happy about that. I remember.
I wasn't so much happy. I was just like, thank you.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
but this don't make sense because it was really, the article was just like a little blurb. But I think someone missed their deadline. Nevertheless, I did make the cover of the Reader.
That's nice.
But I made it for my imaging, not because I was a DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have to kind of think about your branding, and not everybody can do the whole flamboyant things that they think I wear. I'm so tired of people saying I look like CeeLo. I don't know what to do.
What?
What?
CeeLo?
Dan, listen.
What? What? Are you for real?
I am so serious.
What?
And the last block party. Oh my God.
Somebody can say you look like CeeLo Green.
Everybody at the last block party, because last block party was a new league of folks that were there.
Yeah. What? Oh, what? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. We were in Detroit once for moving weekend. I was playing in Detroit, and we were at a club, and this woman came to Bravette, my best friend, and was like, "Tell CeeLo I said hi."
Oh my God. What? I've never known that.
CeeLo was like, what, 5'3"?
He's a tiny man. I know. Shout out to CeeLo Green, but he's not half your height. He's half your height. You're a tall dude.
But they mistake my whatever they see in my flamboyant style of dress.
Yeah.
As something.
I like your hats. We have conversations about your hats when you're not around.
Oh yeah, my hats mostly come from a designer who's from Hyde Park.
Really?
Named Rodney Patterson.
Well, Rodney Patterson, I wear a 7.5. Let's go.
Yeah, he's now in New York. He's now
son of a doggone it.
Oh God, we talking too much.
No, I'm thinking about me not being able to get a hat.
Oh.
I want a hat.
No, I still get my hats from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he don't live here. It'd be easy to be like, hey, I wear a 7.5. Can you hook a brother up?
So he's the one that makes most of Billy Porter's hats now.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Billy Porter, Lena Waithe, Cynthia Erivo.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a Hyde Parker. He still has a place here, but he lives in New York.
Every time I walk into my job, there's a picture of DJ Quest on, Matt Cannon, that hangs up over the pictures of all the DJs that are performing. It's there forever, and hopefully it'll always be there, depending on if my job stays there. And I talked to Duane about Matt, and I talked to him about We Love Soul, featuring two other amazing DJs, Sean Alvarez and Joe College. Peace, Will. And we talk about Matt a lot, though. I miss that brother a lot. I share. And Duane does, too.
I mean, the first party we did at the Promontory on his birthday after he passed, I kept expecting him to walk in.
Yeah, I did,
and
too.
So every time some guy will walk in that was of his build and stuff, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, damn it.
I saw a couple of people with that White Sox hat with the C on it that he got mad at because he saw me with it on. He was like, man, I lost that in Hawaii. I want to get that hat back. I keep looking for him to pop up at places. It's the same thing with Sean Haley,
it's funny
too.
because, let's say, Sean Alvarez is the one that brought us all together. He's the brainchild for We Love Soul. And actually, it was something that came out of something. I don't know the complete story, but him and Ramon Rousseau from House in the Park. Something that has them related to him. But anyway, he brought us all together. Again, Sean and I became friends because of Swing Society Radio. When we were doing that back in, 2007?
Yes.
6, 7. This was in the MySpace days.
Yes. Tom from MySpace.
And it was, to me, it was an odd pairing when he first wanted to do it. Because I was coming from Chicago's, again, segregated insular, the way we do things and the way the house folks only want their house and the hip hop folks only want their hip hop, and you're trying to bring all these worlds together, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is gonna work. And it's interesting because Matt and I used to have this crazy weird relationship. It wasn't a competition, and it wasn't a. I realized later that Matt was doing things to kind of help me grow, but at the time I didn't recognize it as that. I was like, "You're in my way." You know what I'm saying? Because Matt was a perfectionist when it came down to like sound and everything else. And again, because I've been on the scene with my years behind the tables is, fairly only in a decade, he definitely knew things engineer wise way more than I did. And so he would be, making sure my sound levels was right and everything else. But instead of him just being like, yo, whatever, he just become that, turning. I was like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And everything. And so people are like, why is he up there? Why is he nowhere? I'm like, he is the perfectionist. He's the one that, that's really trying to make sure everything, because he was really a stickler for sound.
Yeah, man. Very much so.
And then we had a moment one time where we were in the car after a We Love Soul event, and we dropped him off at home, and something happened that we saw, and then he had made a comment, and then he went in the house, and the next day I got a phone call from him, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, I just wanted to apologize to you or whatever. The comment he made, he thought offended me, and when he thought about it, he was like, oh shit, and he called me to clear the air, but he didn't offend me. But that kind of where our brotherhood really started forming, because you know what I'm saying, like for him to really go home and think like, oh shit,
I said something
that I think, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and to like instantly call me like, yo, you know what I'm saying, my bad, bro, I didn't, you know what I mean, and I was like, bro, we good, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. That kind of opened up the highway for it for us to talk on a more personal level outside of us just being DJ boys or you know what I'm saying, on a DJ crew together. And then like when I started doing Reggie's, he was there every Wednesday without fail. Every week he was there. And just this support of me, and me, and then it's like I said, I'm recognizing the things that he was always doing was to better me and to help me grow in my game. And so I was really, really appreciative of him, for that, because again, there was times I would be on the stage like, wait, I don't hear what's going on, you know what I'm saying, and whatever, and he was the one that always.
I miss that cat a lot.
Yeah,
I know you do. I just really, really miss that brother.
And then we just started feeding off each other musically. He and I and Ron Trent ended up having an event called Audiophile, down at Shiraz at the Virgin Hotel. So we just an unlikely brotherhood formed, and that was just one of my just ended up being one of my dearest brothers in this game.
Absolutely. Hey man, I'm listening to Sound Rotation. Because not just because it's got a great name, it's because you spinning. And the producer who never talks does both our shows. And on this special crossover edition of Special Victims Units, I'm glad you agreed to do this, man. We're gonna have to do a part 2. Plus, that barking dog is not gonna stop barking. The dog is also appreciative. What?
Sound Rotation Radio. We are past the halfway mark of the show.
Yeah.
Do you feel that is doing this thing and do you feel that's something I should be expounding on more?
Man, look, I love Sound Rotation. First of all, shout out to Eric effing Williams, because God knows, man, that dude made it so that, we had talked about, all of us have been talking about doing something like this for a long time. Never really knew how to do it. And he just said, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. And I think Sound Rotation, for me, the value of it is it's your list every week. It's that year-end list every week. I hear stuff on there that I haven't heard in a while. I hear new things. I'm listening with a different set of ears, just in general in music. And you expound on it. What? Every day? You gonna do every about 5 days a week? You gonna do a show every day? Do something.
I don't think my engineer would do that either.
No. Even though we act like he ain't sitting here. No, hell no, he ain't gonna do it every week.
No, definitely. But I've definitely been in my head about keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
I be in my head about, there's definitely times where there's songs that I've played several times on the show. But I have to also look at it as a radio station.
And don't listen to my show on Thursday afternoons on Lumping, because I will play Stevie Wonder every week. I don't give a shit.
You know, but just want to make sure the listener has something good in their ear, but something.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. So I'll ask you, what do you think about this randomly selected show?
Great. I've been enjoying these interviews.
Really?
Yeah, because you've had a wide variety of people.
Yeah.
With fresh things to say. You know what I'm saying? I like that it touches on politics. I like that it touches on art. I like that it touched on, so many variety of things. It's not a one-trick pony. You know what I'm saying?
It's over now.
Yeah.
It's over now. I'm about to really fuck people up. Hey, man, I appreciate you. You know how I feel about you. I tell everybody, I love you, man. I love you. I really do. I'm glad God is keeping you safe so that everybody gets a chance to love on you, too.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Mario knows how deep the love goes. We've been boys for 30 years.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. The Silver Room has been good enough to allow me to get on this mic and do this thing and present these wonderful people to you. And we really hope you enjoy it. Tell folks about it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're the first time listening, go back and listen to the other ones. Really good stuff. And thanks to the team. The team is working hard, and we hope to be able to present more to you. For example, not whatever music this is playing behind me, Rashayla Marie Brown, a dynamo, is going to join us for the next episode of Randomly Selected, and we hope you do too. On behalf of everybody here at the Silver Room, thanks for listening. Peace.